Unlike many of my colleagues, I don't think the Germans are reluctant at all. I think Angela Merkel plays the shy, low-key politician, but I ultimately think that the German agenda here is the annexation of France and the Benelux countries. Now, I may be alone in this, but I've always viewed the euro as a mechanism for offsetting the influence of the Anglo-Saxon nations that won World War II. We did fight a war over this, let's recall. And while I do agree with Desmond that the peripheral countries, Spain, Greece, maybe even Italy, will fall out of the euro, I think what you will see, inevitably, is a Franco-German union with Belgium and the Netherlands coming along for the ride because they all get along quite well. And the reason for this is very, very basic. Nobody talks about the single most fragile and the single most significant of the troubled European nations, which is France. France is a shell of its former self. Its banks are insolvent. Many of its national champions are also quite hollowed out. And, let's remember, why did we bail out AIG? It wasn't to save Goldman Sachs. It was to save Société Générale and several other large French institutions from another restructuring. They hadn't even gotten done with the one they were working on. So, my feeling is that if we ignore what's really going on in Europe, which is that the Germans are paying the bill, very definitely, but I think ultimately the outcome is going to be German dominance in Europe. And the U.S., I think, should be concerned about this. I'm not sure why we are so worried about fixing the euro. I think we'd be much better off if the whole thing disintegrated.